it's been a while, and I guess it will take a little while to have some people join the this conversation and this opportunity to go live and maybe have a little bit of to and fro. So if you're watching this after the fact, just skip forward the next few minutes of perhaps waiting for there to be any traction. Hey, plain truth. How you doing, brother? Travis, it's good to see you, man. You need to Z. Yeah, I guess it's bedtime for you. Well, it's just wakey time. Hey, Ricardo. And you are like Chicago, right? Hey, Nathan. Yeah, nice to see you, Plain Truth, and keep doing your good work. And Nathan, you just keep going, don't you? You do a lot of online time. But I wanted to, well, I'll just say a few hellos before I get into that. So if you're one of those people like me who wants to get into the juice and the content, then you may need to skip through the next few minutes. But I do really want to talk about ask this question, whether we're in the final lockdown. If you've regular kind of listener to my stuff, I've said this for a few months, haven't I? And that there were going to be 3 lockdowns. That this would be, that the first 2 were the drill, the practice, the dress rehearsal, and then the real thing. And the UK is on the cusp, you American guys may or may not know, is on the cusp of an announcement today, being the 30th of December 2020, obviously, that they're going to make an announcement today vis-a-vis the next steps, and all the body language, all the indications are just like in the first one. It starts all, don't worry, it's only a couple of weeks, then it's, oh, sorry, it's a little longer, and I think this will be the little longer conversation that's coming, but they've added this twist of the new variant. I guess I need to be a little bit kind of mindful that the language we use on this platform is apparently quite strongly censored or whatever. I'm going to change the lighting a little bit. Maybe it's a bit hectic in here. Oh, and I should stay in touch with the speech. I mean, that kind of thing. The thing. Maybe I got the camera on the wrong side. My finger's getting in the way. Sorry for me, like squinting at the thing. It's about 5 a.m. here. No big shakes, but I'm not sure where my glasses are, and I don't want to go rooting around for them. I will say up front that, for those who have been like following me with an open like heart and a concerned heart, then you'll be happy to know that right now we're in a little house. It's warm. It's cozy, it's short term, but it feels like we've got a little bit of a home just for a little while, maybe a few weeks. I won't say more about it at this point in time because, I'm sure you understand that not everybody's playing on the same team, and a little bit, I don't know if you saw the little logo I used, or the icon I used for the start of this live thing was the chess pieces, because it is like a white team and a black team, not skin color, of course, but and somehow energetically there does seem to be that It does also seem to be, we went to the beachfront the other day, the seaside the other day, and there people are, well, actually almost no one was wearing a mask, fantastic, but people are avoiding each other, not looking at each other. Really, there's that, and parents drawing children in towards themselves as you walk by and stuff like that. Guys, this is horrendous. I'm finding that hard to deal with. Go to the shop and you see old ladies, old men, all dutifully wearing their masks and having little conversations with each other from a few foot away. Okay, bye then. See you, and there's no contact with each other. I had a contact with a shop assistant the other day where my little finger just touched her, a part of her hand, a part of her finger. I don't know exactly. She was passing me a bag of apples or something, and I was like, actually, because she'd passed me a bag before, and the first time my hand almost touched her, and I felt like, wow, let me see if I can actually touch her skin. And there was like a little electric spark that occurred, just for me anyway, maybe not for her. And I wasn't at all trying to be sexual or anything like that. It was merely I wanted to make contact with another human being, and it set me off on this like line of thought. How we are these electric, light beings. We know this, and that if we're not arcing with each other, if we're not creating a spark with each other with a new light, then it's only, then we're perhaps, it's another one of those things that dulls us, that dims us, that diminishes us. Because they've really got down on this hugging and, getting in touch with your old people. And so yesterday when I went out, I tried to sort of, I've got to be thoughtful about what I say. We live in a crazy time. Can you imagine if I said something on YouTube, like, just for example, I'm going to make something up, like I went out into a public space and instead of veering around people, I sort of try to accidentally veer into them and just a little elbow nudge, a little bump. Oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry, just because I think this is, this whole auric field, energetic field stuff I've been talking about and others are talking about. And I think if we're in each other's auric field, good. So within a few feet perhaps. But then when we actually reach all the energetic or light fields and make contact with the physical, then we make that it's like, when you get that static electric spark that occurs in that static electric spark, that we should be having that with each other, a little sparking, a little arcing. It's important, and this is one of the things being taken away. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, and I have to remember to look at the little chat thing and say hello to some folks. And before I do that, to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. We've chosen to take this path, and some would say, well, it's your choice, and good luck to you, and blah, 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 and you should go and get state help. You should, and also at least just go and get a job, even if you have to wear a mask. That would be what some people would even say still. Anyway, I just want to thank the people who've been so kind to support us along this way, both in word and in sometimes in deed and action. And they're particularly, recently one or two people in particular have made a remarkable difference. And I feel just for a little while, I'll be honest with you guys, you know that actually that if I took you out of your home, I shook you around for a year, I destabilized all the people that you're meant to be responsible for, it would be challenging for you too. And how's my facial baldness coming on? My Lord. I'm hoping soon enough to get to that point where I'm like, okay, I can take better care of myself, because I haven't really taken best care of myself. It has been I'm not saying, oh, I'm through it now. I haven't got a permanent base, and this is important. But I think there's work to be done going forward. There is almost no doubt in my mind. The full moon actually is just out there. I could show it to you, but maybe we'll get to that. There's no doubt in my mind there is work to be done. That this is not all of that she wrote, and that the coming protests and uprising is not, the only dog in town, or the only way that we manifest going forward. It feels to me like I had a great conversation yesterday with a guy knows so many things, and actually I'd had a conversation with him on the doorstep some years ago, and I told him about the banking scam and stuff, and he did think I was a little off the charts there, but now he sees so much more, and he made me realize that he'd been out to the Trafalgar Square and done some protests and stuff, and we know that these protests are intended. We know that these protests are largely being ignored. There's certainly very little or no mainstream coverage of these protests. It's pretty much just ships steaming along. You got on the left rudder, you've got let's do more things more quickly, and on the right rudder you've got let's do less things in a different way, rather than this entire ship is full of shit. Anyway, I'll just quickly run through the chats. 18 folks here, that's nice. I have to say, I can't really read that, but not another brick in the wall. Yeah. Warning Skydome. Hi. That's a cool name, actually. Yeah, the roof does intrigue me, but I'm not sure about exactly what it is. I have you might have heard me say this in my previous video, or I may not have loaded the previous video. I've made 1 or 2 videos lately, guys, that I haven't loaded. We live in times in which there's so much deception. One of the tests we need to give ourselves is that we are not somehow carrying programs still when we go about and believe or think what we do. We really have to be sure about that. You think about those people, they've seen some things and they can really, 9/11 or this or that, or that, but they can't see something else. They can see that water's level and balls really don't float unless they're in water. And they're not balls of rock, cement. They can see that, but they can't see other things. And the last, well, not the last, but for a lot of people, the last hurdle, the last thing is the spiritual thing. And that is whether you're going into it or coming out from it, because, when you're going into it, you'll come from that like, it's all nonsense, and you're having to throw all of that away. And then if you're coming out from it, it's been like, well, I've been given a particular, version, like gravity. That's my kind of don't. That always has to still be there. You always have to have gravity, don't you? Well, no, you don't. That's a theory. It's an idea, but you don't have to have that. You know that things naturally lay at the floor, and if you pick them up, they will probably drop back to the floor unless you put something in between of them, that and the floor. So, there is, for me, yeah. I just want to go back to the chat and say hello. That's interesting. Nicholas Bishop, hey mate. Big hugs from Glastonbury, yeah. Well, I hope to swing by Glastonbury at some point, mate. A guy wrote to me the other day with, some info on Gnosticism. I looked at Gnosticism years ago, and I think like all these things, there is high value, and there's good information in all of them, all good. But I think there's so much belief. Anything for me, really, the fundamental is it like it should be in us. Like for me, the you in universe is you. That's what it feels like for me. That the you in universe is you, and that you are, you have a solar system, an entire galaxy of at the microcosm level. All of that is going on here, and maybe it's an expression outward, but maybe the system wants it to be an expression inward, or by that let me not confuse things by saying they don't want you expressing your universe. They want a universe, history expressing its way into you, coming in, touching you, the hand of God, the electrical kind of connection that is made when God and man are connected. There you go. So if you are a representation of God and you go and touch another man, you are infusing him with life. If you give a baby no contact, a newborn child no contact, then that baby will suffer health-wise. You give them a touch and the life is infused like a power-up in a computer game. Now I need to dial back. Yeah, I think that was that Furious TV. I think that there has to be some kind of AI or because the programming that, and I don't mean by because obviously in the world we have the United Nations, and they've used events have been used to put in place all the committees and working groups and steering groups and so on that can quickly implement a change program and protocols and so on. And they've used the guise of, say, the global warming or climate change agenda to put in place all of those things. It's a little bit like in the sort of in the world today, how the corporations like the McDonald's and the supermarket chains and stuff like that. They've been very quick to implement all the guidelines, and they have a history of a mentality of falling over themselves to put in place all the regulatory standards, the ISOs, and all that type of thing. They have that kind of setup, and they employ people who love that kind of doing that kind of thing, and whose ego is built on achieving that, and making sure that in their store down the chain customer service is applied in the certain way, and legal parameters are not all the score. So they are the quickest and most furious implementers of any new measures that see them get gold stamps from teacher government, and that is how the corporation, the dead speaking, or the speaking dead, will rule God's creation. And so God's creation, in the form of Joe, the shop assistant, who is now a very important person in his town because he gets to decide who might or might not be able to come into the shop, and who can have access to certain items of good stuff. He is now going to make sure that all the guidance is properly understood and vigorously implemented. So unwittingly giving life to this dead entity that now has far more power than you or I, and your family's need for food is far less important than their need to follow guidelines. And the guy I was talking to yesterday, he said, I'm the only guy in my supermarket that goes around with a mask, pretty much. And now I've been out to the shops a few times. I have experienced myself to be maybe the only one or one other that I've seen without the mask on. So, guys, my site in the UK has been snapshots almost, hey, because I got to be in the first lockdown, got to move around a bit during that one, then went to Portugal for a few months, came back for a snapshot, saw how things had progressed in terms of how many people were. It was like, oh, that's surprising. There's a lot more people wearing masks around the shops now. And then, of course, but now coming back this time, it's wow. That's it's almost complete. And that sense that some people are looking at you already with that you're creating you're probably going to create the problem. And the latest, I'm sure you're probably aware, the latest theater is that there is this extremely virile or virulent strain coming out of South Africa now. So anyone with a South African accent even is going to become even less welcome in place. But people are going to lose their minds there, as the Americans say. People are going to lose their shit over this, man. It's gonna go crazy. It is going to go crazy. I'm sorry to say it. I'm not wanting to be the okay. I'm getting too conclusive here, but when you just track the progress, and we, society, has been beaten. It's like people are in I walk around the supermarket and look towards people's eyes and try. You can draw people can feel your energy. And I know in my 50 years of life, I can walk around a supermarket or whatever and look towards someone, and they will feel me look at them, and they will look to you, and you can smile at them. That's the nice thing about being able to go out and well, used to be nice. I mean, you can't tell now if someone's smiling at you or not. Really, it's hard to be sure from just the eyes. But now people don't want to be drawn into an exchange, an eye exchange. Some look at you and have that, you know, very few are, I think very few are thinking, hey, good for you, man. I wish I had your courage, you know. But I'm sure there are people. I heard someone say the other day, the silent majority are ready to, getting ready to stand up. Not that, no, they're not. Not yet. Not yet. There is a silent minority that I think are certainly like flummoxed and there's something wrong here, you know, and we need to do something. But I feel like that energy is going to be steered into this, you know, million man mask march, you know, kind of thing. This is what you have to think is coming here. You know, the anti-mask march, who are simply saying it's ridiculous for us to wear masks without really being brought all the way back to, no, but they did all this on purpose. There's no accident. This is not we got the figures wrong again. We sexed up the report like we did with weapons of mass destruction, but no one worked it out, even though we were killing people through these regulations that were keeping old people from their loved ones and children from their grandparents at Christmas. I mean, you know, no one's stopping to know. And so it's more control. This is, you know, it continues to be a control game. And I wanted to make this video, this live, just, I feel like I need to be going, doing more talking going forward. I feel like in Portugal, I was unable to say much, you know, and so I want to be talking, but today I wanted to talk and ask you guys about this next stage, because in South Africa, right? I mean, they're in the summertime, best time of the year. South Africa has a beautiful summer, beautiful beaches, thousands of miles of beaches, beautiful, some of the best in the world for sure. And they're locking all the beaches down now, and they're doing it. They announced it yesterday, I think. I mean, I'm not super, you know, up to date or current. I don't follow these things super tightly, but they weren't really locked down, and they were like, yeah, you know, things are, you know, it's not about now. All of a sudden, they've said no, end of year, which not new methodology, end of high school raves, end of high school, you know, sort of when they finish their high school, they go on these raves that traditionally go down the coast and these big parties, and they say, no, these have been super spreader events, and we've got this mutation, and, you know, despite whatever they say mutations really aren't, it doesn't matter, it's all set. And we're going to lock down the beaches in South Africa. One of the best things you could do for your health, and at a time of year when people generally don't get the cold, the flu, you know, they really got to be pretty knackered, partying pretty hard, you know, that kind of thing, or very old. You know, sick. But they're doing it. So we were like, come on, this is because they weren't locking South Africa down. I was like, okay, because we thought, yeah, there's a third lockdown coming, and it's going to be across the plane. Like everybody was getting in place for this across the plane thing. But I'm not sure about America. And I was going to ask the American guys about that, you know, whether you guys were being thrust rapidly now into a lockdown. Because the UK has got, as I said earlier, and you might have missed me saying it, but the UK is going, Boris the he has he's doing an announcement today, I believe, probably this evening, so that'll be about 12 hours from now, I suppose, maybe. He's going to tell the country something important, and all indications are is that, you know, this tier 4 that they invented recently wasn't enough, and they're going to have to invent a new one, tier 5, and they're going to have to spread all of that around a little bit more around the country. So I see right now at New Year them locking everything down, and I can't see why they would be releasing it. What's going on, guys? What are your thoughts? What can you say? We had to book into a beach tomorrow. Wow. When we were in Portugal, they implemented in the inland area. They have these river beaches, they call them, and there's not that many of them around. One we enjoyed going to, implemented security there, and there was only a strict number of people, it's a limited number of people were allowed to go, and all of that. So it was there then. That was in the summer 2020. More August, I suppose. Book into a beach. That's messed up. Flat Earth Alaska. Hello, Flat Earth Alaska. Are you still there? If you are, I got this question, or not a question, just like an offering of a hypothesis to you. If you've seen me say this before, maybe that's why you're listening to what I have to say. But that, like, if this point here was, let's say this was Ankara, this is Alaska, then my theory is that over here is say Scandinavia, Finland, north Sweden, that kind of thing, and then over here is like Siberia, the Urals or whatever. My geography is not like super tight anymore, but that's how I think it actually works, and that this is the northern region of our flat world. If this wall was laid down, obviously, this is the northern region of it, and you guys are there, like Hawaii's down there somewhere, and Australia's on the other side. So, it does require a retooling of some of the thinking that we were given from the Flat Earth Society when we first found out about Flat Earth. Because, they were obviously expecting us, and they had some of their friends and family, set out some of this information that perhaps distracted us from this possibility. And that, typically the further we go north in Alaska, same here, the less habitable it becomes, and we find the same experience in the south. So I just thought I'd offer that, and maybe you've already thought about that. Yeah. So I will find my hey, Mark. Marxist resolution. Is that, what I have to admit, all these different names like communism and socialism and so on, they're labels that have a certain meaning, of course, in Wikipedia, but it all swirls around in my head, and it's all just flavors of ice cream. It's still ice cream. It's still control. Really, I mean, but I acknowledge that someone needs to manage the highway, manage the roadways and things like that. But I don't know. You see, I guess if I wanted to be the boss, then the best thing I could do would be to either disempower you or get you squabbling with your neighbor, so you leave me the heck alone. And then I just get to kind of, maybe sell you some ice cream. It's really nice to see you, Mark. And I do appreciate that call with you recently. That was cool. It's been a little bit kind of like a little bit like hunkered down. I've been, the word hunkered down has come out of my mouth a few times in the last 2 weeks. So since we departed the bus in Portugal. Good preparation. This has been an incredible year. But there's more to come. This was a preparatory year. And I guess it was chance for all of us to prepare certain things, get certain houses in order. Just, like my son Maluki, he is like feeling the loss of his life, that he was trying to develop as a student in university, and so he's feeling that slip away, and he's been a little bereft over that, and rightly so. But what they want is your hope. They want you hoping for a savior, even if it's just like one of those needles, like, and they want to just poke that right in through through your aura. Yikes! Not only does it, like, I have people joking about, hey, we give you the elbow, No, they come in right with this needle, right through all your auras, and then actually reach your final protective layer, I think. I mean, not to your soul, I suppose. I'm just saying, into your physical self. We think it's all vibration, right? We do think that it's all vibration, that. And I certainly am really certain, sure that this is all vibration and all frequency, and therefore, as we know, with the modulation of frequency, we can do good things and bad things, light things and dark things. So this is what's happening, right? It's manipulation of frequency and to a particular end, and debate about what that end is, but that's what seems to be going on, from GMO to skywriting to water tampering, needles from William the Gateserer. So, I think we need to protect our vibration, but I didn't really get an answer yet for my question. Maybe I need to go back to the chat. It is only a few people, but I will go to the chat and see. What are they doing in America? That's the question. What are they doing in America? Because for me, they want everybody in the same frequency at the same time. Everybody in the same... Well, not. What do you think? Is America going into a full lockdown? Or is it good? Does it have to wait for this new guy to come into play properly? Does Q still exist? Do Q people still have an angle or a bead on that? I mean, are they still able to see a way that this is all the plan still that they're going to trust? I think so, but I really honestly haven't heard anything at all about that in a few weeks. It's almost like something died for them when that failed, when that failed. And then, of course, you're hanging on to, oh, maybe he got cheated, maybe those court cases will go in our favor, and then you're waiting for the next court case to go in your favor, and it doesn't. Psychological operations. Guy told me yesterday about this event happens in Westminster. I'm going to say 2017, but it could be 2018. I have a picture in my mind of a green Vauxhall or Opel like hatchback driven into Westminster, Houses of Parliament. Like, they've got barriers there, but they've got this green car's got in, and then there's a black dude out on the floor, killed or shot, or a policeman shot. Yeah. And the MP who gives the policeman or the shot driver, I can't remember how it goes exactly, CPR, he is like a part of some like 77th Brigade or something, which is like a PSYOPs brigade. That's it. Like he does it in his spare time kind of thing. Oh, all the world is a stage, and they're about to stage something massive. Oh my gosh. Are you ready, people? Is it about keeping your vibration in harmony at this time? Because they want disharmony, man. What do you think? I'm going to just zoom back a little while to say, hey Donnie, 524, good morning. Gravity's called down. Hey, like I just ask people, like, lovingly, please don't get defensive. Please don't be like annoyed with me. But I just want to be like the 10-year-old boy in class who says to the teacher, so miss, when I make a fire in my garden, sometimes I get into trouble, but when I make a fire in my garden, the smoke, unless it's windy, always goes up. It always goes up. Yeah. Maybe wind makes it go a little bit sideways and stuff like that, but generally not quite. All it goes up, and you've taught me in class that heat rises. So if this little balloon of Alexander's here. So yeah, see the teacher, look, teacher, this is up, okay? So imagine my friend Jose, who lives in Argentina. He's on the side here. And he goes in his garden and lights a fire. Which way is the smoke going to go? And which way is the heat going to rise? Well, Johnny, it's gonna rise. Of course, it's going to go perpendicular to the ground there. But why wouldn't it just kind of turn and then go up like we would expect? So steam of anything, like if this was a hot ball or whatever, the steam would be rising, it would be turning and coming off and going up. Look, Johnny, go to the headmaster and take a few beatings, okay? Because that's not the sort of question you're meant to ask. But if you ask that and people say, well, it's because there is no up, is there? It's everywhere. It's relativity. Don't you understand relativity? It means that the balloon is actually a flat place when it comes to things rising. That there's no up and down. Everywhere is up and everywhere is down. It's spellcraft. But then the spellcraft of whatever's going on in the world at the moment is so powerful that I know that they can do whatever they're about to do next. And whatever's been going down in your town, Mark, in Melbourne, with all this extra special road checks and roadblocks and stuff like that I've seen you doing on an almost daily basis. Again, it's like, why different there? Why all of a sudden, again, they did this in the first lockdown and it took them months to release it, but they switched off alcohol and tobacco in South Africa for months. And they announced yesterday that that's it, 2 days before Christmas. I mean, New Year, they're switching it off again. Why? Why these variances in these places? Is it to achieve a particular vibratory expression in a particular place, is the AI so clever that it knows exactly which buttons to push in order to kind of have the appropriate response? I'm so eager to be a responder, follow the kind of call to bloody do something about it. But at the same time, when you're playing chess, friends, your opposition's drawn you into a particular position to make a particular play. Didn't they want your energy in the BLM or in the VC or in the veterans or in the chemies, the globies or the flatties, whatever? Didn't they want your energy there anyway? Because if you had not taken the spellcraft deeply enough when you were a child, and here you are as an adult trying to express that you don't believe what you're being taught, then they want to retain you or restrain you, don't they, on the way through. They don't want you to continue floating out of their control information set, And that control, by the way, is like is everywhere, And I want to talk more on that as well. But I know that, see, I'm not really, if you know me, you might know this already, but I don't really like to upset people, actually. I don't take pleasure out of upsetting people. It makes me feel crap, actually, sometimes. But the truth is, I have to say the things that I see. Isn't that, I did that as a child, got into a lot of grief about it, so I shut up. And then I did that more when I was older, and then my career prospects failed. And, as you start to fail in that area, you feel like you're a failure anyway, then you shut up. So there is a journey to be taken. Everyone's choice. Someone wrote to me the other day, Keith, thanks for the $20, man. And for a guy like Keith, maybe that's an awful lot of money. But every donation, no matter how big or small. Thanks, Seth. Been meaning to thank you. But look, like this guy said, Keith, he would love to be able to do the talking, and he finds shrinkingly fewer people saying things similar to where he's at. And I pause when I say that because I'm like, I know you see, I don't want my journey to be one in which it's like this exclusivist It's a weird thing, isn't it? Because it's like, oh, there's incredible knowledge, natural knowledge to be gained and learned and stuff like that. But the majority of people aren't really that fussed about it, aren't really that interested. So, and that's fine. That's their choice, of course. But much as you'd want them to be interested, because I think it matters. It is our eventual trajectory to learn this stuff eventually, to rise to something higher. But you can see why people need to get together in little groups and go, okay, well, we've got this knowledge, but people think that we're kooks for thinking this or saying this. What do we do? What do we, what do we do with that? How do we make a world? How do we live in the world? How do we participate in the world? What is the way to do that? Is this deception? Can I call it that? I don't mean the CV thing. I mean the whole thing. Yeah. Have you heard me talk about the Cinderella, the Alice goes down the rabbit hole, and she comes across the Queen of Hearts playing chess. The Queen of Hearts is controlling both the Black King and the White King, Queen, and the four bishops, who would perhaps be representative of the four religions or the four main subgroups, I suppose, or whatever. It doesn't have to be literal or exact. And then, the armies are the castles, and the knights are perhaps the lawyers. I don't know. These are my grandfather's pieces, actually. And maybe the pawns are us. I don't know. But maybe we're not. Maybe that's the trick. Maybe that's just what she uses. The Queen of Hearts uses to control the game. And I don't want to think in terms of I don't know. I don't really want to upset people, but I don't I feel like this is so much our creation that we should not abdicate to that Queen of Hearts. If we are Alice, perhaps. Perhaps we should not be abdicating at all. I'm a little rusty at this live thing, so I do apologize. If you want to watch this back at 1.75 speed, I don't blame you. Oh, is Mr. Mensa here? Wait a minute. Nice to see you. Well, nice for you. Thanks for stopping by, as they say. Where do you think we're going, Mr. Mensa, if you're still there? Where are they taking us to? What is the trajectory? And what is a path? What paths are there for forward. You know, I've been saying to Andrea the last few days, like, I can't continue to do nothing. I want to spray paint stuff. I want to put chalk down. I want to tell people. But like I said earlier at the beginning, was on the beach the other day, and wow, what is the message that these people will hear? What can they stomach, or what is going to make a difference at this point in time? Because you have to admit, or have to acknowledge that whatever's controlling the program, whatever it is right now, it is totalitarian and complete across the game board, and it is going to see itself through, without doubt. It's going to see itself through. So we need to just be in a position, I suppose, to do the right thing, the best thing that we can do, and try to do whatever we're meant to be doing. But is the objective to wake so many people up so that they then go and knock over the parliament? Well, I think that may well be, but that if that's true, then that's by design, so they can knock over the status quo and build something new. That's by design. I'm not sure if that's happens in year one, because this might be year zero, and it will take these people that are the sort of early beginners, or starters of these stand-up X, and whatever they've got in the US, these other groups, to have to be like anti the system. But really the truth is that most people are wearing the mask. Most people are falling in line. Most people are gonna go along with whatever they're told to do. That's the truth. As much as a hero these people used to propose themselves to be in their little social network, they're all now, most of them, gladly going along with whatever they're told, like obedient school children. Are we allowed to do this now? And I've been guilty of saying, using that phrase, are we allowed to do this? And this is where we're at, is that we creators have been reduced to school children because we know so little about what we are and who we are, or where we are, and what the purpose of this whole place is, and this setup, So, and I don't think I think they want you angry about that, by the way. So I don't think you really want to be angry about that. I mean, if you've got anger, then you want to work that through, but same time, it's like, okay, so you were mistreated as a child. Come to terms with that, and then look to set that aside and be the best man you can. Not let's go out and beat on people and stuff like that. It's like, and there's so many agendas out there, by the way, that sort of sit on people's shoulders. Might be to do with their race, their religion, their upbringing, their abuse, their whatever, and it sits there, and then they get all of this truth stuff, and then all of a sudden one of these things comes out, like a Jeffrey Epstein or some other kind of scandal that really, like a George Boyd with an F, you know what I mean? That kind of thing, just, boom, and it just sets off and take them back into a program that's been running in the background since they were a child. I got the opportunity to send copy of my book. I don't have one here right now, but I'm not like whatever promoting it. But I had an opportunity to send a copy of my book to a Cuban dude who fought in the same war as me, but on the other side. I've always had a thought there might become the opportunity to share the book with a Cuban dude, you know. Yeah, Angolans and Cubans, you know, because I once did hug and hang out with a terrorist, a former terrorist of the South African regime, you know, in the apartheid South Africa. There was a group called SWAPO, and they were the terrorists. After they were the heroes in the new South Africa. They were like then instated in government in Namibia and stuff like that. So they were no longer terrorists. It's just, how about that Barack Osama thing? Hey, is that has anyone ever looked into that? It's just one of those things. I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about it, to be honest. But I do wonder about Osama-Obama connection. You know, were they the same man? Are they the same man? Wouldn't that be crazy? Eh? That would be a mind blower. But it's not outside of the realms of possibility for this crazy world. And why? Why have they stolen us? Why have they stolen the truth from us? What are we going to do about it, friends? Are we just going to lay on our sofas like I am now and be another brick in the wall? Or are we going to find some way, you know, to assert our sovereignty simply, you know? And it's like the corporations and systems and governments of man should never have this level of authority that everybody, every adult, good, every person, good, bad, whatever, black, white, no color, you know, no special favors here, I don't think, for any of the color flavors, you know. So hopefully that's put to bed people's ridiculous notions that they're a special brand of slave, more enslaved than some other. And just they get nicer houses on that plantation over there, mate. Get over it, okay? But they still have to give up swathes of their life, and now they have to cover their faces. Tell me a place that segregates that. Actually, now I say that, I have to correct myself. You know, in South Africa, they've been playing this race thing quite sweetly, where they've been fining people in the Western Cape, the Cape Town region, the Garden Route, that beautiful part of the country. They've been fining people for going on the beaches there. But in Durban, they've been allowing the beaches have been photographed packed on the same days, and no one is doing anything about it. Now, typically it's said, you know, the Cape beaches are more white, you know, European kind of beaches, and then in Durban, where I'm from, there are black beaches. You know, I mean, I know that from my childhood. You know, once they removed the restrictions on people's movement in the 80s, all of a sudden the beaches in South Africa became just, you know, in Durban, where I'm from, just you know, on the holidays, just packed with black skinned people, you know. And of course, in my early childhood, they'd only been white on Durban beaches. So they are playing the race thing there for sure. But in the main, you know, everybody's in the same bear pit now. We know that, and we've worked it out. So what are we going to do? Hey, what are we going to do, friends? Are we going to just roll over and get old and get exhausted by this? Because I think that's probably what they've done in the past. And I've been thinking about, you know, Paul Kruger, who was the president of South Africa, the Republic of South Africa, or the Republic of the Transvaal, and the Orange Free State, back in the 1800s. And he was like, you know, he was basically wiped out by the empire because he was trying to set up, or they'd set up this kind of colony for themselves outside of the control of the Europeans. So this system is really like, I mean, even off grid, my experience of being a little bit off grid was like, well, we're still connected to the grid, we have to buy 10 and 15,000 pounds worth of solar equipment to have a semi-decent supply of electricity most of the time. Most part people are needing to eat food from the supermarket. No foul, it's just the reality. Hey, hi guys. Hi. Alexander and Andrea just waking up there. We rely on that to a large extent. Not everybody, but in the main. Have to pay taxes to be, have a vehicle, to have land, to, There's no real true free man, free land thing. It is always an exchange. Of course, I think that an exchange of things is an essential part of perhaps what we do, but it shouldn't be such on the back foot, hey? And my time is as valuable as your time, not 500 times more valuable. My family's awake. I better see if there's anything else I need to say before it's been an hour. Nice little warm up here.
Just send my...
Oh, well, you can come and say hello if you want.
Oh, tired eyes.
Well.
Just say.
Anything they're mocking us. Let's call it social distancing. Look who's here. It's Andrea.
Morning.
We have to, we don't have children yet. Imagine being sterilized by Gates and his husband. Man Linda. Gates. Yeah, actually, I do feel like there's a sterilization program going on. I do feel like, there's a program. And actually, I felt that so strongly back in, 2015, 16, when I've said this before, I was intentional about wanting to have another child, knowing that it seems to me a plan to discourage that through any means possible. Yes. What, darling? Giraffe? What am I looking at? The writing?
What's going to point to that?
Oh man, I'm so grateful for this little boy. Yeah. Look, I'll turn the camera and you can have a quick look. It's easy. Daddy, come. Mm-hmm.
Not do it with the camera.
Oh, not do it with the camera. All right. Well, look, guys, I will let you. I will do this again soon. I think I have. No.
You want to do it?
No. Okay. Well, so it really just didn't. It didn't really, and I'm not complaining, but I didn't get to the point where I was talking much about what's happening. But there's a big announcement coming in the UK in 12 hours' time in terms of the storyline that we're going to see unfold. So let's see what happens. But 2021 is looming, and we're still here. There was no going away with the conjunction and all of that. And I hope those people who were really banging on that are eating massive humble pies right now and recalibrating their thoughts, because this is maybe not at all how it works. This is more like a long-winded process. Having said that, if the shoe drops tomorrow in 5 days' time, so be it. Anyway. Keep the hope. And we know this is about love, because everything is drawing into fear here. Everything is drawing into a control system. some sort of martial law, and the V scene is about to kind of destroy us all, and so on. And of course, I'm not at all suggesting it's a good idea, but at the same time, all the fear that is associated with it is possibly affecting you today more than something else might in the future, and that might never even occur. So, just say goodbye and say goodbye. And 25 people stopped by, and I had 20 likes already, so that's I pretty like that, So thanks for your likes and thanks for stopping by. I will try and do it again soon. There's a whole lot of psychology that also goes about with, like, what am I doing and why am I doing it, and I haven't done it for a while, and of course, as I said earlier, if you're unstable, you don't have, you know, every day you're more focused on how do I ensure that the next few days ahead we're good and so on. So we got a few days of stability, and I'm starting to feel more inclined to get back on the saddle and talk some more and ideas about how we do something that is loving.
Steer the ship in a different direction.
To offer a lifeboat, because the ship is going sort of in one wave. I don't know that we can steer a whole ship yet, but at least a lifeboat. Eh? What do you think? Any ideas? Send them to me on a postcard at trinityforman@gmail.com. Thanks again for all your support over the last 2020. Wow. I really had to expose a lot of myself to walk this way. Really had to humble myself. So 2021 can be an awesome year. I know that there's so many horrible aspects to, like, the grandma can't see grandchild scenarios, and this one can't get treatment, and that one there's all of those horrible things that seem to be, and restrictions on movement and all of those horrible things that are all those constraining things that are also going to come. But at the same time, then how do we flourish? Like, if you think in true nature, like you throw a whole bag of toxic spill down on the ground. Well, I can assure you, in a few months' time, when you come back, there will be plants that have found their way in some little nook, cranny, or whatever. They will have found their way to get a bud up, get some light, and start showing some color and something in their garden. And then over time, over weeks, months, and years, then slowly nature will return in full, and that toxic sludge that you had spilled down will have been eradicated and cleaned away. And toxic sludge has been dropped on the human's psyche for whatever reason. I think we can find ways to grow little roses and spread some love. Anyway, I think on that note, I'll say, let's keep it. Let's see if we can. That's what I want to do. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Ricardo. Thank you. Actually, for saying that, Ricardo. I actually, Andrea read me a message in the comment section the other day. I don't get to see my phone. We share a phone, and Andrea has more phone time than I do, actually. And I have, even when she's not using it, I don't necessarily pick up my phone anymore very much at all. So I don't have a lot of time. Anyway, she read me this comment from a guy who was just expressing how useful some of my thoughts had been. And as I mentioned earlier, Keith had said a similar kind of thing. And that means an awful lot to me. Really, it does. Thank you. And I guess I guess your support in that way will sustain me, because I have times of lowness and uncertainty and insecurity. Actually, does anyone know about... No, it doesn't matter. I won't mention that. Just some admin stuff I got to sort out to do with my car. Guys, have a great day. Thank you, and I will still talk to you soon. Yeah. Again, no doubt, and I appreciate the support, etc. We both do.
Yeah.
We all do. What was that? Dave, stay focused. You are changing your batteries. Sorry, my eyesight.
I agree.
Love and peace to you and your family. Oh, you're changing your batteries? Is that what it says? Thanks, man. Love will dispel of fear. Each are divine within. See, the love for, like, we come from love. And that... Is this world meant to all be about that, or is it meant to be a test? I don't know. So if I refocus or reframe this idea of the stuff being done to me, rather than maybe seeing it as perhaps being done for us to experience so that we grow from it, because like this 13-14 months of homelessness has helped us, has given us tools, hurdles to grow from. So most people's lives are replete with hurdles from which they either learn or need to repeat. So, maybe let's not call it a foul, I remember in 1994, we had just arrived in London and they started the national lottery and you could win a few million quid, And I was like planning to win that. And, then like a few years down the line, say 5 years down the line, I still haven't won it. Every week you can play back then. I still haven't won it. And I reconcile myself with the knowledge that had I won it 5 million at the age of 25 or 28 or whatever, if I'd won that, then I wouldn't have learned the lessons that I'd had to learn. Yeah, you could say, well, look, if you had won that, you would have learned some lessons really quickly, and you would have maybe lost it or found friends who were only interested in your money and had lessons from that. So, it's fair to say it doesn't matter what kind of experience you have. But at the end of the day, the experience I've had has given me, vital and valuable lessons. And I haven't learned from all of them, but I try. More now than before. I guess we all do that, eh? Walking out in town, closing thought, walking out in town the last few days, I felt like I can hold my head up high and my shoulders back and be light, be bright, be smiling, be the antithesis of what they want, because when you see what everyone else is doing, it's like... So I say that because I offer that to you if you're going out and about in the world, or rather, maybe you should go out and about in the world. This is how I feel like I can make a difference going forward, is that actually I have to be out and about in the world in order to make a difference. This online community is a bunch of friends hanging out together, and not necessarily, as we know, until I went on Russian vids and then CFM, and I'd had no subscribers for months and months and months. No new activity here. So that's the reality of the online environment. It's just a few mates hanging out, pretty much, and then the odd. I think the algorithm throws in the odd, globe, person from that religion of globology or globalism. They come in.
Well, we also know that being energetically with someone is very different to being separated. So online is lovely and it's been an amazing tool, but equally, it's not that same. Our spark is connected.
Yeah. The spark, I was talking about the spark earlier, actually. We're meant to be sparking and arcing. So get out there and, that was just it was just a suggestion, not a suggestion. It was just like a hypothesis, wasn't it? What I said earlier on about an hour ago, I said, imagine if someone was to go out into town and just by accident bump into people, just to kind of make that arc. You wouldn't be able to suggest that in this modern world of controlled conversations. But, I was just imagining that, and then people were arcing and our electrical systems were being enriched. That's what dogs do when they go and sniff trees where their friends have been there before. The other dog went there and had a pee and what have you, and they go and take some of the vibratory activity from that other animal. That's how dogs keep their herd immunity strong. It's what they do, They share electrical impulses between each other. And we have been insulated. So go out and be not insulated. Have a super day. Much love.